But let's get straight into it. Let's talk about the Bloodline and Sami Zayn. Basically, this has been carrying WWE. The Bloodline has been carrying WWE for the past 2 years now. Sami Zayn joins the part, gives it extra legs. People were getting tired of it. Sami Zayn joins this, gives this sympathetic character coming into it, and changes the game again. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
Brian, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first on this one. Yeah, like you said, this is the story that's carrying WWE right now between Bloodline and Sami Zayn. When you see how the story started, and then you see what you saw on Raw 30, you got Jey Uso, who was the one who was doubting Sami Zayn the whole time, thinking, Sami's going to turn on us, Sami's going to do this. Sami proves himself, and Jey actually ends up being the one to stop Solo Sikoa from attacking Sami Zayn. Yeah, it's the best story going. I mean, the Bloodline, ever since Roman's been champion, been the dominant heel champion, having Paul Heyman back there with his whole family. It's the best storyline going. I mean, without this storyline, who knows what WWE would be, because there's not a lot of other good stories besides this one.
Louis, you can go ahead.
The Bloodline. You know what's funny? I'm mad that it took so long for this Bloodline thing to happen. Like, I remember Roman debuting, and with the Shield and everything, I was like, okay. And then when they split up, I was like, all right, we'll see who. And, everybody kind of switched up their role a little bit, and then they just kept force feeding us Roman for the longest time, and I was like, dude, this is not it. And I know a lot of people were, and it's crazy when they talk about it and they're like, yo, this is him. Like, if they would have pushed him as a heel from the beginning, I feel like this storyline would have maybe even happened a long time ago.
Yeah.
But it's crazy that it's happening now, and it's great. And like you said, Sami's a huge component. And mind you, I've been watching Sami since he started NXT. I didn't really know his stuff beforehand. And I was a big Sami, when he won the title and everything he did in NXT was great. His comedy in it right now was great. I love especially because of this past week's thing with the whole Jay thing, giving him the best supporting actor role, memes everywhere and shit. Like, it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, there was memes up.
And I'm curious how it's going to play out, because it's so good right now. And I mean, I think right now everybody's hooked on Sami, so they either gotta capitalize it or they're gonna bury him, which is gonna piss a lot of people off. So I don't know which way they're going. I honestly can't tell.
That's exactly what I was thinking, because I'm in the back of my mind, I'm thinking like, okay, how is this exactly going to end? Like, because we all know they're not going to set up a situation where Sami Zayn defeats Roman Reigns. So I know
I would love. I would love.
But I mean, it's the total underdog story. It's the total underdog story. This guy who wanted to be loved and accepted by this family gets kicked out, potentially gets kicked out. But just in general, like, Roman Reigns coming back. When he came back, he had the teeth. They had the Brian Griffin meme with the teeth smiling and all that.
The veneers.
The veneers, like all this stuff here. And it's like, yo, like, Roman's different. From that day forward, we knew Roman was different. Like, something's different here. And to see him build over this time, and people are starting to hate Roman. And, they respect Roman, of course, because just the storyline and what he has done. But it's like, to see where he has come from getting booed at the Rumble. Like, he was booed after winning the Rumble. You know what I mean?
I hated that Rumble. I hated it.
Yeah, that was the second of 2 back-to-back terrible Rumbles, because the year before was just as bad. But that was the
who was the one before?
Who was that?
Go ahead, Daniel. Go ahead.
Yeah, like, to turn that around and basically be this dominant champion, have great matches. Like, you think about Cesaro, Bray Wyatt, all these people that he's beaten along the way. It's like, okay, like, we know he's the dominant champion. What else he's able to do? He's able to put over the Usos, like, in a different light. Like, the Usos were getting stale as a tag team. Like, they were running out of people to fight. They put Jay in that singles role. That whole family tribal tree trying to submit to Roman and stuff like that.
That was a good ass story.
Like, all that detailed storyline, they're joining him. They're a faction. You're getting other guys over. Sami Zayn joins. the reaction that he got at Survivor Series. And we thought Sami Zayn was laid to waste early in the year. You know what I mean? Like, people thought he was done, almost on his way out of the company. Everything. This has given them legs, a new light. Sokola, if I'm saying that wrong, Sokola comes in. He's the enforcer now.
Sokola.
You know what I mean? Like, they're
Sokola.
pieces have put together, and they're credible. They're respectable. So to see that come out of this, and then you see the angle now, and I thought the trial was like something that they probably put together, and I'm like, I don't know where they're going. I don't know if I liked where that was going, but when I saw it and I saw it happen, all the acting, Roman Reigns playing him down, Paul Heyman talking shit, Jey Uso saving him, like all that stuff added up, and it was like, okay, that was entertaining. Where are we going with this? And it's like, they can go.
And see, that's why I think Sami should win the Rumble, because it's organically becoming, he's becoming so popular and polarizing, because it's the same thing that happened with Daniel Bryan, and it's literally the thing that happened with Kofi Kingston. It wasn't supposed to happen this way, but then boom, oh snap, here's a chance for this guy, and then or just rolls. And the Sami thing isn't just like brand new; it's been going on for a while now, and that's been the whole thing. Like, is he true to them? Is he gonna try and backstab them? Are they gonna just smash him and get him out of there? You know, it literally could go anyway. But I think if they do it organically, and I get it, you know, he's not Roman, he's not a Rock or whatever like that statue, but so what? You know, I think that unpredictability is what makes people happy. And yeah, sometimes you can give them what they want, and then when you don't, obviously you're still gonna get that reaction. It's like, you're really gonna like drag us in so close and then just rip it from under us. You know, but that's the nature of the game, you know.
I mean, they've done that with Daniel Bryan. Like, Daniel Bryan lost that Rumble
so many times.
he lost many times. And everybody was
he
like,
did.
"What the hell?" Daniel Bryan. They were like, "What the hell?"
I didn't think Bryan was even gonna make it the WrestleMania. I was like, bro, they just
like, and then they were like, "Oh, we might have messed up here." First of all, Batista, and then they had what was the year they had Rey Mysterio enter 30?
Yeah, that was the same. That was the same Royal Rumble.
Was it the same Rumble?
30, whole crowd shits on it, and then the
so it's like, what are y'all doing? So to see that, and then you see that, see what they did to Daniel Bryan. I just think they're in better booking with Triple H now. Like, he's gonna give those guys those type of pushes and those type of chances. Like, Sami Zayn has a potential chance to win the Rumble. Like, that's in play.
And that's who I'm rooting for.
You know, like, that's in play here. Like, Sami Zayn has been this underdog story since NXT, right? Like, Kevin Owens betrayed him in NXT and all this stuff. Never really got the big shot. Never really been put in that position. So now there's organically a push behind him. Like, he could win the Rumble. Like, and especially the whole point with Kevin Owens getting into this as well. And I laughed because I was like, yo, this is the same main event 2 years ago. With the last man standing match and all that. So I'm like, they're doing it again. I'm like, is there a chance Kevin Owens wins at the Rumble?
Was that the same one where Roman Reigns ran him over with the cart?
Yeah.
That was the same Rumble when they had that match.
Yo, that match was crazy.
That was
that was one of the matches. That was one of the matches I hoped he won.
I thought Kevin Owens should have won that. I thought he should have won that because I was like, that would have been a good way for them to have a rivalry between Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns.
But that's the thing, and you always know on the road to WrestleMania, like, if you have a champ going into WrestleMania, they're not going to do no title change right beforehand. They're going to save it for WrestleMania. So.
Yeah. Facts. But it's like, so the whole situation with Sami Zayn potentially winning the Rumble, him in this now, Roman putting him in this position, like, hey, we're going to see what you're made of at the Rumble. And it's like, from my perspective, it's like, didn't Sami get over at Survivor Series? Like, wasn't that supposed to be the test? Like, I thought he was good now.
It's the KO thing. That's
but then they had that tag team match with Cena and Owens, and then Roman Reigns, I guess, technically got his first loss, and I don't know how long. So then I completely erased everything that happened at Survivor Series.
Hey, that's how they're playing, and I'm just like,
you got to keep the story going, you know.
I mean, like, that's the thing with so many. This story has so many potential twists and turns. Like, where are they going to go? And this is the first time they've had us like this since probably,
I want to say Kofi.
Yeah, I want to say
Kofi.
I want to even go
like
back
an organic story.
But it's something so monumental where we didn't know what was going to happen. The CM Punk line with John Cena at Money in the Bank. We didn't know if he was going to stay or go and all this other stuff. Like that was the last. That was really like Kofi Kingston was a shocker. Like that was a moment where it was like, okay,
yes.
In terms of like, I'm not saying that Kofi Kingston is not a star and stuff like that, but in terms of star power, the stakes on the line there, like CM Punk leaving, like going through the crowd, blowing the kiss to Vince McMahon, like it was like, oh shit. Especially the unpredictability of Punk. It's like, yo, he might really be gone. You know?
Yeah, because they played the reality into that. He's like, hey, I'm actually probably like legit gonna leave. And after the whole pipe bomb shit, like it's like, oh, this dude is like he's blurring the lines too much. You don't even know what's real and what's not. You know? Which they played into like perfectly.
Exactly, yeah. Because apparently after he gave the pipe bomb promo, he said every promo that he gave leading up to the match, that was pretty much just him talking like it's legit. Like I might not be here. Yeah. I don't understand why they don't now utilize reality more into these storylines. Like this reality is what reality television is where it is today, but. But by putting reality in the storylines, that's what keeps the fans around. I don't understand why they don't do that more, because that's
there's a lot of stuff like they got an answer for towards sponsors and scripts and stuff like that in terms of, and then the whole thing of like people, especially the thing that pissed me off with Vince and stuff like that during that time was just like, yo, why aren't you allowing these guys to speak? Like, get over. Like we saw it's a perfect example, Roman Reigns. We're doing all the stuff where they force feed Roman Reigns lines. He's forgetting his lines and stuff like that. It's like, because you guys are making it too complicated. When he came back from the when he started the Bloodline and he's talking and getting over and stuff like that organically, like he's being the asshole. He's being a prick. Like he's saying, acknowledge me. It's an ego thing. It's an ego thing with him. And you see that. And it's like, why haven't, like, especially what you said earlier, Lewis, why didn't they do that earlier, like 2015? Like we're 7 years later from that when you think about that.
And honestly, that's how they gotta. I'm sorry, if you're trying to become a wrestler, I feel like promotions need to let you make your own character. And because if it's you do it how you want it, and whether it succeeds or fails, that shows like your potential. I mean, obviously not everything that you try, like your first character is gonna be the greatest shit that comes out of you, but you can do different variations and be like, okay, now I'm this, now I'm that. But you're pushing like what they did to like FTR, like in WWE, like, bro, just let them be them. Why are you trying? And I remember hearing them talk, they're trying to give us tassels and they're trying to give us like all this crap. And I'm like, bro, just let people.
No better example than Keith Lee.
I was.
You really want me to rant on the first episode? Please don't.
I was
shorts, a leotard. They shaved his beard. I'm like, what are y'all doing?
Bearcat.
Man, oh my goodness.
So like
that was a stupid. Same show with Karrion Kross. I'm like, bro, what are y'all doing?
Oh my
god. Prime example of not valuing or not of them not paying attention to NXT. I understand that they're completely different audiences, but overall, you can have them be the same character though, and just reintroduce them to a new audience. You ain't got to change them completely.
First of all, Karrion Kross having a demolition type outfit coming to the ring was strike one. Having him lose to Jeff Hardy was strike two. I'm like, what are y'all doing? And then they were trying to have this thing like Jim Cornette was talking about it. He was like, they were trying to have Scarlett be that switch for him, making him go badass. I'm like, he's already a badass. Like, why are we backtracking in the rate? That's the one thing I hated about NXT when the guys did get called up. That was the fair, right? Like they got called up. And they changed their name, like Walter Gunter now, but like Walter. I was so pissed because I'm like, yo, this guy is so organic, naturally gets over, naturally big, naturally violent. Why are we changing his name? Like, why are we doing like?
Luckily, it's working for him right now.
Yeah. Luckily, they turned it around.
Yeah, well, for his situation, I guess it was because Walter is his real first name, so they can't really trademark it. And plus, if he ever does leave, he can still use the Walter name elsewhere. So I think that's why they specifically for him. That's why they changed it.
I'm like, damn, man. Like, I thought that was gonna bury him.
My biggest thing was always when people got called up from NXT. I was like, it was like a flip of a coin. You're either gonna be the hottest shit coming in, or you're gonna be dog shit. Like
the only person that dodged that coming in was AJ Styles. Like he came at the run as AJ Styles. He didn't go to NXT. He didn't go down. Like
he was already a veteran. He was already like people know AJ Styles.
Yeah, but like Shinsuke Nakamura went down to NXT. Like all these other people went to NXT, went through the minor. You know what I mean? So like to see, I wonder if AJ Styles is ever going to talk about that. That was one of the big things. I'm like, is he going to be able to talk about that? Like at some point, like yo, this is how I negotiated it.
But see, that's why I thought NXT was so good because I started watching it literally probably right around when Sami Zayn won the title. I started watching when it was. I didn't see when Seth Rollins and Cesaro were there. I saw when it was Neville, Bo Dallas, Tyler Breeze. Tyler Breeze is huge, and then if they would have did it right, it could have worked, but whatever. But yeah, and there were so many like, dude, one of the ones that I. But I mean, he came back. He came back and the tag team stuff. But there's a few that I was gun ho for, and that was like Bobby Roode, Keith Lee. Bobby Roode, I thought would have been like, dude. He had the song, he had the entrance, everything would have been just perfect. The robe, and I'm like, yo, why are you changing this man's name? Like he's just Rude or Bob. I'm like, what?
I hated that. They started changing everybody's name. It's just
probably
he's another one.
The one tag team early on I thought was gonna be like phenomenal. I don't know why. Was the Ascension. Because dude, their finisher I thought was fucking deadly. And I was like, yo, easily next tag champs. And I don't know what it was either like 20 years or 25 years. They just got destroyed by like veterans, and I'm like, that's it.
Yeah, but I knew specifically the Ascension only had a ceiling because I knew as soon as they went to the main roster, the writers were just gonna look at them and be like, "Oh, they look like Demolition."
They could have worked. They could have worked it. They could have tweaked it a little bit to make them look more badass and be more of a threat, but they treated them like jobbers. And that's the one thing I didn't understand. It's like, why are they losing like that? Like this team that you built and had a commodity for, and then it was like, if that was the case, it was like, why bring them up? That was the case for me with a lot of NXT talent. It was like, if you're gonna bury them, why even bring them up? You know what I mean? So,
and I guarantee people started to notice that. That's probably why people like Adam Cole only popped up here and there, or people like who else? Like, dude, the whole what was their group called? What am I spacing? Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, all of them. What was there? Undisputed Era. Yeah. And I was like, they were perfect for like NXT, like, and they were so dumb. They had every title.
NXT was getting all the rave reviews, and the main roster was getting shitted on.
Yes, it was
like NXT was that third brand. They won that Survivor Series. Yes. So it's like, why is all this commodity that you guys are building now they just destroying? That's what it was for me. Like, why are you guys destroying this right now? But it's like, and then you see these guys from NXT that succeed. Sami Zayn was able to be saved, right? Like Roman Reigns and carrying the company. That's somebody out of their development that have the Usos were there. So Sokola was there. So like we're seeing the fruits of their labor from NXT.
Exactly. They're top 10 superstars right now, or they were all in NXT. If you really think about it.
So it's like,
Rusev was in there, like, fucking, it's crazy. But it also shows like the big disconnect between NXT and the main roster, and just how much Vince was like, "Oh yeah, you think they're good?" Or he would even be like, "Oh yeah, like, nah, I'm gonna do what I want," and like.
Yeah,
it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
That's exactly what his thinking. That's 100% perfect. That is exactly what
he's like. Oh yeah, they're good. All right, you walk
we'll
in the door.
see.
All right, now let's change it. Let's do this.
Yep, everything.
No, I was pissed, man. I was pissed at a lot of stuff. But the Bloodline, Sami Zayn is working. Let's